Hi, welcome to our weekly outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 26th of February. So in this rather short month with snow pending in the UK, we're looking at, got quite a bit of data coming out. I'm going to just run through Forex Factory very briefly with you here. I've had Draghi speaking this afternoon. It wasn't major. His speech was delayed from 2 o'clock to 2:40, and basically he kept pretty much in line as he normally does, but never can guarantee this. But looking ahead now then, tomorrow wise, we have got some sort of lower key data coming out in the morning, which could create a bit of volatility. The German inflation data comes out up until about 1 o'clock. That can, again, as I say, create a bit of volatility. At each of those events, I'll have better timings of those in the morning. For this, for the tomorrow afternoon, core durable goods, it's a volatile one, but more importantly is this here, the Fed Chair Powell testifying. Now this would be his first one. Now this is the timing of his report to be released at 1:30. He doesn't actually speak until 3. So, but the report, his chosen words come out at 1:30. So we may see some volatility around that point. But it's the Q&A at 3 onwards that normally causes the unknown, of course. We may get a better idea of what he's got to say. Following on from that then, consumer confidence, all very low key. Durable goods, as I said, it can create a bit of movement. Moving into Wednesday, CPI flash estimate, okay, lower key. I'm more interested, maybe in the GDP data. That's the second figure coming out, so it's not as volatile normally around this one, but it could create some volatility if it's widely different from expectation. Pending home sales, none of information particularly interesting. And then moving into Thursday, the private capital expenditure may create a bit of volatility for the Aussie, and certainly the manufacturing PMI data will start kicking in and give some volatility around 9:30 for the pound. So that's certainly a mover. And then leading through from that, the other data here is much lower key, but we got the Fed chair speaking again at 3 p.m. Again, he's just testifying to the different house. I think this is the Senate, is it? Senate Banking Committee, there you go. So it's later. But again, volatility expected around there. And then we've got the ISM manufacturing data at that time as well. So that will be the immediate hit, and then whatever Powell says thereafter may create volatility. Important on Friday, we've got Prime Minister May speaking at some point. It's tentative here at the moment. I'm not too sure what time it will come out, but there may be information from that leaked prior to Friday, so watch out on the pound from that point of view. And then we've got Carney speaking at 10 a.m. due to speak of the evolution of money emergence. So, okay, cryptocurrencies at the Scottish Economics area. My favourite subject at 10 a.m. there. So it'll be interesting to see what he has to say. No doubt there'll be some more cons than pros, but we'll see. Okay, so that's the fundamentals that's coming out there. Aside of that, one thing to bear in mind then is the sentiment. A quick look at the sentiment. I'm just going to run through these individually with the currency. Euro, the sentiment's come off here from the larger traders. I've seen that sliding down over the last few weeks, and it pretty much summarises what's going on here. Now I'm going to go technical here, and well, there was divergence just over a week ago. It didn't really kick too much, but I suppose overall last week we ended up with a down week, and I guess we could continue in that route. I'm bearish at the moment. I was really looking for a move back towards that daily 50, maybe a bigger correction, maybe be down to that monthly S1, but certainly that daily 50 I've got my eyes on. It's looking like it's trying to break at the moment as I'm talking here. This trend line, it may be a point of adding in to any shorts around these levels, but we'll see. But it's certainly, as I say, personally at the moment erring towards the downside with that 50 in mind, but may be a bigger correction. Okay, the pound. So let's just click on there. Let's just have a flick onto the sentiment for the pound. It's also dropping here. So it's fallen off the sentiment there. However, I think there is a problem with the pound, and of course that's Brexit. It's consolidated inside bar on the weeklies there. So all in all, quite consolidated. Coming down to the dailies, it's messy. It's in this range wedge pattern. It's sold off quite strongly today. It pitched up a bit higher, but couldn't hold on to the gains. And well, if it starts breaking out this level, it too could be back down towards its daily 50, maybe more. I've still got this regression channel sitting on here, and price does tend to, if it starts now, it's starting to move back within the range. As I said, if it breaks this trend line, I think there'll be maybe more selling coming through here, at least to the 50, maybe all the way back towards that S1 and the regression level. Of course, depending on the strength of the dollar, but also comments coming out from these different speakers. The new chair may set the tone. Okay, with the yen, I'm just going to go back one time frame up higher if I can, then go to the monthly here, because it's just taken a bounce off its monthly 200. It has broken its wedge to the downside on the monthlies there, but whether it's going to push on further down, that's possible. Depends on how the money flow runs. I would like to have seen it running up with the correlated with the pound and the euro coming down. May not necessarily be the case, but it is starting to pitch that way. It's quite a way away from its sort of key trend line here, though, which is where the pound and the euro are sitting right on them. This is a way away, but it may still, it's got the daily 21 above, may still be a sufficient magnet. Now, if it is a sort of a risk-off situation, money will go to the yen, so we will see the yen strengthening, even as the euro and the pound are coming off. So it's a bit of a riskier one in some respects at the moment. In terms of commitment of traders on that, I just quick flick through to the yen. You can see here again, it's just sort of easing off a little bit there as well. Okay, dollar yen, Aussie dollar. Okay, let's come out to the bigger picture on the weeklies. And in fact, I'm just going to click on the monthlies to see if there's anything I needed to see there. Really, it was just back into that monthly 200 last month, and we've not managed to do too much. So I'm going to just pull back to the weeklies. Consolidation around this phase here. It does just look, I mean, with the inside bar last week, it does err for me towards the weaker side. I've got these trend lines sitting on here. We broke obviously that previous one. I shall remove that. I think it's a bit out of zone, but we've still got the potential to head back to this this one here, this lower one at some point, the way it's running. So if all is well in the markets and we see the pound and euro coming off, I'd expect this to be selling off. In terms of price action, it's sort of sold off, had to bounce, and it's the case is if it can push on through the trend line that's sitting here is sort of being tested. It may go on next attempt. So looking towards the weak side at the moment. Of course, if the dollar starts weakening, all of this analysis may fly the other way. But as I say, I sort of remain a bit more bullish on the US dollar for now, at least, with the sentiment coming through there. And finally, the Canadian dollar. Let's come out to this weekly picture. That is softening. It has softened last week. It didn't really hold too much, put a shooting star in, but it's sort of really seeing a continuation. It broke out of its wedge last week, came back, retested the trend line, tested the weekly pivot, and off it's heading at the moment. And so we could see that pushing on through. Well, whether it will push up towards the monthly R3 is another matter, but it's certainly pushing that way in the moment, so looking like it's got further upside. Okay, that's pretty, I say that's pretty much it. I should really, I guess, look at the S&Ps, bearing in mind they've been all over the shop. Now, recovering at the moment this week. Last week, well, did a bit of a hanging man candle there, a bit of a recovery going on at the moment. It has broken the prior high there nearby, and it looks like we could be seeing a bit of a rally running through here. There's Trump is shouting this US must be smarter on trade and everything like this, so it's giving the oomph to the upside for the moment on the S&P, so that's rallying back up. Wouldn't want to be standing in front of that at the moment. Gold is the other factor I wanted to just quickly look at, and well, we were looking at this earlier on. It's consolidated here on the weekly basis. Inside bar again, may still have some downside potential here. It's a bit of a messy old pattern again going in on these dailies. It's a bit like the Aussie really. If it starts breaking this sort of say it's not quite a head and shoulders, but there's a trend line across the lows there. If it can start breaking through there, maybe it'll have a bit more of a correction. So generally it looks like dollar strength pushing through these markets. We'll see how we go. I expect quite a bit of chop, and perhaps with the speaker coming through this week, the new Fed speaker, Chair Powell, perhaps we get some decent volatility coming from that as well. Have a great one. Bye for now.